Now at 9, Crawford County Mental Health cuts the ribbon on its new addiction treatment center. Plus, the Carthage City Council discusses a potential audit. And we'll meet an author in Miami, Oklahoma, who defied the odds to get published.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. The Carthage City Council rejects a request to audit the Carthage water and electric plant. The audit request was removed in a 6-1 vote. Council member Alan Snow believes this call for an audit on CWEP casts doubt on the organization and called for it to be removed. Mayor Rive says the audit was requested by Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey. We'll hear more from the mayor tonight at 10. Well, Interstate 44 has fully reopened to traffic after a fatal crash forced a shutdown today. Westbound traffic was backed up for miles after a semi-truck hit the post of an overhead sign at the Rangeline exit just before 7 this morning. The post was bent. The sign left leaning over the road. Westbound travelers had to use alternate routes while a crew removed the sign and cleaned up debris. No word yet on the identity of the person killed in the crash. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us now with a first look at weather.
Yeah, and it definitely turned out to be a hot one for us today, into the upper 90s for afternoon highs, so well above where we should be for this time of the year. We have dropped back, still very warm, very muggy, 83 in Joplin, 80 in Pittsburgh. Let's go outside. It's 82 in Neosho, 83 in Carthage, 84 in Miami. Chanute is sitting at 84 degrees, but the story, at least over the next couple days, is temperatures stay hot. So let's take a look at it. Mid-90s once again for us on Wednesday, even on Thursday. Mid-90s for afternoon highs, but there's a cold front advancing in late Thursday. That's going to do 2 things for us. 1, cool us down. 2, give us chances for showers and thunderstorms. Now, any storms out there now have been well to our north, Kansas City up towards St. Joe. We will stay on the dry side throughout the night, slide back through the lower 70s, back to 85 by 10. We're also going to look into the holiday weekend here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, there's a new facility in Pittsburgh aiming to treat addiction. Crawford County Mental Health today cut the ribbon on the new addiction treatment center. It features 24 residential beds, 4 social detox beds, and 7 crisis debilitation unit beds. Officials say the new facility will provide better care for the community.
The thing that's exciting about this building is the crisis stabilization unit is attached. And so anybody who comes in who may need detox services, who may need psychiatric services, people on the inpatient unit that may need psychiatric services for while receiving addiction treatment, they're able to do that all together.
The new center is at the Richard H. Pfeiffer Recovery Complex. And a story of perseverance. A young man in Miami, Oklahoma with Asperger's syndrome is not letting his diagnoses hold him back. He's become a published author after years of hard work. KOAM's Samantha Walker sat down with him to learn about what pushed him to follow his passion.
I'm using my diagnosis to see the world differently than what most people would see.
Maverick Manning says he's enjoyed writing for years. When he was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism, his family was told that he would likely struggle with reading comprehension. But that hasn't stopped Maverick from writing. In fact, he believes his diagnosis makes him better.
So in my take on the Asperger's, that it doesn't make you stupid. It makes you smarter than other people because you see the world different.
Maverick published his first book this year, titled The Rabbit's Creed Death Warrant. He worked hard on writing the book for 8 years, never giving up on his dreams of being an author, and he's excited to share it with others.
It feels like I'm cooking for someone, and everybody who buys this book and they enjoy it, like it's a meal.
His perseverance is something he learned from his mother, Maverick's biggest supporter.
He wants to be a writer. He could be a writer. Like I said, I always told him, don't put limitations on yourself. You could do whatever you achieve or want to achieve if you put your will and your passion behind it.
Maverick says he appreciates all the support he has received from others, especially his family.
It's like having an army on your back when you go to war.
He's not stopping after just one book. Maverick is already writing his next work, and he says he can see himself writing for years to come.
I can see myself work all the way up till I'm old and wrinkly.
Reporting in Miami, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
You can learn where to find Manning's book on our website at koamnewsnow.com. Well, it's never too early to start learning, especially about the planet. Preschoolers from Carthage today learned some lessons about nature at the George Washington Carver National Monument. The monument partnered with Carthage parents as teachers to educate young students on George Washington Carver's curiosity through crafts and storytime activities.
We want them to know that national parks are places for them that were created and established so all people can enjoy them. And whether you are 3 or 93, these are amazing places to visit. So they'll get an inside look at one of the parks right in their backyard.
After the program, students and their families were encouraged to explore the monument's interactive exhibits. Well, a section of this parking lot will soon become a bull riding arena. Bullfest at the lake is coming to the Wolf Creek Park in Grove, Oklahoma. The event busts out of the chute at 4 p.m. this Friday and features bull riding, live music, food trucks, beer gardens, and so much more. Organizers say there's a reason for putting the arena on concrete.
We're getting questions about why are we doing it on the concrete. PBR does this all the time, going to the BOK Center in Tulsa. I mean, they do it on the concrete. If you try to get on the grass and you bring in all this dirt and all this fluff, you can't get it back off. Then you have to till the dirt up if you want to do that. We don't have time for that. So it's easier to bring in the dirt, put it on the asphalt, on the concrete, and clean it up. Cleanup's about 2 days. It doesn't take long at all.
Head over to KOAMnewsnow.com where we provided more information on including ticket prices and where to purchase them. Well, the next KOAM flag swap event is less than 24 hours away. Tomorrow, we'll be set up at Wesco Home Furnishings in Pittsburgh on 2601 South Broadway from noon to 1:30. Stop by with your old American flag and swap it in for a brand new American-made one. Old flags will be retired according to the U.S. Flag Code. Be sure and show up early as the number of flags is limited. Well, coming up, what some Southwest Missouri health officials are noticing about West Nile virus in the area. There's been an alarming rise in the number of heat-related deaths over the past decade. According to a new study published in JAMA, heat was blamed for 412 deaths in the U.S. in 2014 and more than 2,300 last year. The study found a downward trend between 1999 and 2014 before a significant spike over the next 9 years. Researchers expect this increase to continue and say local governments in high-risk areas should invest in cooling centers for the public. Our summer heat and humidity is not slowing mosquitoes from buzzing across the Ozarks, and that has resulted in area hospitals seeing some cases of the West Nile virus. Nick Kelly spoke with experts on how it impacts you and how to keep yourself protected.
Our summer weather this year has allowed the mosquitoes to stick around and remain a nuisance, and doctors at Mercy and around the region are seeing patients with mosquito bites and West Nile virus.
We see few West Nile virus cases throughout every year throughout the summer, anywhere between 5, 10, 15 max cases every year that need to be hospitalized. And
doctors notify Greene County Health of any West Nile cases they come across. Like with other trackable diseases, they investigate the cause and the area where it happened. They then update local leaders and healthcare partners about what they found.
If we're all on the same page, we all understand what's going on in the community, hopefully we can all work together to help either provide education, health care, make sure that we can slow the spread.
While not a big problem in the Ozarks, it's worth watching for symptoms of West Nile. Mild symptoms range from a fever to headaches, body aches, joint pain, vomiting, and rash. More severe cases could lead to neuroinvasive diseases causing brain or spinal cord inflammation. Spinal cord inflammation can lead to paralysis, which is what local broadcaster Art Haynes had to deal with when he got the virus 2 years ago. Dr. Hamid stresses that while severe cases are rare, certain risk factors can put people at risk.
older age, above 65, is the population that's almost exclusively gets this neuroinvasive disease. The second population is anybody with poor immune system. If you're taking medicine, cancer treatment, or if you have an organ transplant.
While treatments are available for the more severe cases of West Nile, doctors and experts alike say prevention works best to help keep mosquitoes away.
Using personal insecticides like DEET or picaridin or permethrin, just to make sure that they don't get to you at all. Wearing long sleeves and pants if you're going to be outside.
It also helps to spray your property for mosquito control and eliminate standing water. And that should keep mosquitoes in West Nile away before the cooler months ahead can calm the insects down. Well, people who got myocarditis from COVID-19 had more complications than those who got the heart inflammation from mRNA COVID vaccines. French researchers looked at 4,600 patients over an 18-month period. 2% of post-vaccine myocarditis patients needed to be hospitalized for another heart-related issue. That's compared to 7% of those with post-COVID myocarditis. Well, Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later, with football season kicking off, we'll see which local athletes are battling for spots on NFL rosters.
Well, of course, super hot day for us today. 99 was our official high, so we are way up there, 10 degrees above our average high for this time of the year, and the heat is going to stick around as we go through the next couple days. Here's a great shot. This is Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex Tower Cam. We are looking downtown Joplin, off toward the northeast through downtown. Temperatures, it's still warm, it's still muggy. It's 81 in Stockton, 82 in Neosho, Anderson, 83. Let's go to Miami, to Chetopa, to Parsons, to Chanute, all sitting at 84 degrees. We'll only drop back into lower 70s later on tonight. At the airport in Joplin, 83. South winds at about 5 to 10. Our humidity, it's been up there. It's not extremely high. It's high enough. Dew points into the mid 60s. That puts us kind of in that sticky-ish range outside, and that's where we're going to sit again as we go into the daytime hours on Wednesday. All right, let's go first through the temperatures. We know they're going to stay hot next couple days. We start in the lower 70s tomorrow, lower 90s by noon. Once we get into the afternoon, I think most of us 95, 6, 7 degrees. Very similar to what we saw today. Also, a slight chance for an isolated thunderstorm to pop up. Anything that would pop up would die down by tomorrow evening once we lose the heating of the day. All right, so here's your day planner. 71 to start, 90 by noon, 97 for a high, slight chance for an isolated storm. Heat indices are going to be out there again. Heat index tomorrow near 100. As we go into Thursday, heat index again near 100 degrees. So if you are going to be outside, make sure you drink plenty of fluids. Then we start to see some changes. Cold front's going to head in. We get some rain chances. Any rain right now is well to our north, mainly along the I-70 corridor near Kansas City. But we have an upper level wave across Texas, a little wave in New Mexico. This will give us a little bit of moisture by the time we get into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So that's kind of the next aspect, is going to be chances for rain. So let's move into it. By Thursday morning, we know we're going to start warm and muggy, mid-90s for highs, but we're going to watch out to the northwest. Scattered thunderstorms will start to drive in late Thursday night into Friday morning, most likely weakening, but we'll start the day with scattered thunderstorms. At the same time, cold front slides in. This means it's going to be cooler on Friday. So once we get into Friday afternoon, scattered thunderstorms, but look at our temperatures. We're into the mid 80s. Scattered thunderstorms last into Saturday morning, and then even into Saturday afternoon, highs into lower 80s. So it's going to cool down. We're going to get some rain chances in here. Now it is the holiday weekend, so that could affect some weekend outdoor plans on Friday and Saturday. Rainfall amounts, not excessive, but a lot of areas will pick up half an inch, maybe upwards to an inch in spots. 97 on your Wednesday, slight chance for an isolated storm. Thursday, 96, but 86 on Friday, 84 on Saturday. Labor Day itself, 84, the unofficial into summertime, feeling a little more comfortable.
Yeah, and then the temperatures go back up.
A little bit, yes.
But I'm loving 80s at the end of August.
Next week is going to be a beautiful week.
We will take it. All right, thanks, Doug. Well, coming up, we'll look at the Labor Day weekend travel expectations from the experts. Consumer Reports revealed its picks for the best used cars. The list includes vehicles 5 to 10 years old from 26 different car brands. Lexus, Toyota, and Mazda topped their rankings of the most reliable used car brands. Consumer Reports surveyed its members about issues with their vehicles, breaking them into major and minor problems. Top picks have to be reliable, safe, and performed well in tests when they were new.
Yeah, the used car market, it's starting to rebound a little bit. So in the last year, prices have started to come down about 10%, and inventory's up a little bit too compared to the pandemic. And so all that means you're more likely to find the car that you actually want and hopefully pay a more reasonable price for it.
The average price for a new car right now is around $48,000. As summer winds down, millions of Americans are heading out for one more vacation. And the TSA is expecting this Labor Day holiday to break records. Fox's Chris Foster has more.
It's expected to be the busiest Labor Day travel weekend on record. Millions of folks hitting the rails, roads, and skies for one last summer vacation. According to AAA, most Americans will be staying in the U.S., with domestic travel up 9% from last year. Seattle tops the list for most popular destinations, followed by Orlando, Anchorage, New York City, and Boston.
The cost to travel internationally over Labor Day is up 11%, and that means that overall bookings are down a little bit because it's a little bit more expensive.
At the airport, TSA is preparing to screen more than 17 million people between Thursday and next Wednesday. The agency says it expects to meet wait time standards for security screenings, but recommends people take advantage of programs such as TSA PreCheck to save time.
Think of those big, maybe a school trip or something like that. It's very convenient and it gives travelers a lot of peace of mind.
And for the millions of Americans expected to drive, they'll find relief at the pump, with the national gas average floating around $3.50 a gallon in recent weeks compared to $3.81 last Labor Day weekend.
The one thing we watch this time of year is for any potential storm. So a hurricane or a tropical storm that affects the Gulf could affect refineries and could bring gas prices up, but right now we're not seeing that.
Friday is expected to be the peak travel day. TSA is bracing for nearly 3 million people to pass through checkpoints. In New York, Chris Foster, Fox News.
Walmart has recalled nearly 10,000 cases of apple juice because they were found to contain potentially harmful levels of inorganic arsenic. The Great Value brand apple juice recall got a more urgent classification after its original announcement August 15th. The new classification says the affected product could temporarily cause adverse health consequences, but it's not likely to cause serious or irreversible medical issues. Up next, we'll learn about the massive new deal the Kels brothers are signing for their New Heights podcast. Travis and Jason Kelsey are teaming up with Amazon's Wondery to distribute their New Heights podcast. The deal is reported to be worth a whopping $100 million. The Kansas City Chiefs tight end and the former Philadelphia Eagle said they were thrilled about the next phase of New Heights. The contract with Wondery includes global distribution rights to all audio and video episodes, as well as the back catalog. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. Planned Parenthood in Missouri fights a new law banning the organization from receiving Medicaid funding. Plus the latest on the legal battle over the fatal duck boat accident that killed 17 people on Table Rock Lake in 2018.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Missouri Planned Parenthoods are fighting back against a new law to kick them off the federal Medicaid health insurance program. The organization filed legal challenges to the law with the Missouri Administrative Hearing Commission. The law bans Medicaid funding from going to Planned Parenthood, which could reimburse them for services to low-income patients such as pap smears and cancer screenings. Arkansas also has a law banning Medicaid funding for the organization. The legal fight connected to the deadly Branson ride, the Ducks boat accident, will continue, at least for now. Captain Kenneth Scott McKee and 2 supervisors, Curtis Lanham and Charles Baltzell, are facing 63 criminal charges. There's been several back and forth challenges in the case since the tragedy on Table Rock Lake in 2018 that drowned 17 people. Today, a hearing was scheduled for October 11th to discuss the defense's motion to dismiss. The attorney is arguing the state attorney general has, quote, exceeded its authority to prosecute. If that motion is dismissed, a preliminary hearing will happen in March of next year. With less than 70 days until Election Day, the presidential campaigns are heating up. Both candidates hitting the road this week to sell their plans for the economy, the top issue for voters. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has the story.
Donald Trump's running mate J.D. Vance is holding rallies in key swing states, focusing on the economy and attacking Vice President Kamala Harris.
Grocery prices under Kamala Harris are up 21%, and I think that undercounts it. A record number of Americans are working multiple jobs. The housing market is as unaffordable as it has ever been. And the average new car costs nearly $50,000. Americans, this is heartbreaking.
In Big Rapids, Michigan, Vance criticized the Inflation Reduction Act and policies he says hurt the state's auto workers. Meanwhile, Vice President Harris, fresh off a high-energy Democratic National Convention.
We will create what I call an opportunity economy where everyone has the chance to compete and a chance to succeed.
Has made a multi-million-dollar ad buy, hoping to convince voters she can cut the cost of living.
And prices are still too high. When I am elected president, I will make it a top priority to bring down costs.
Harris has criticized former President Trump's tax plan and says making homes more affordable will be her priority. But in his rally, Vance blamed Harris for home prices going up in the first place.
She cast the tie-breaking vote to send interest rates and mortgages through the roof.
Vice President Harris and her running mate Tim Walz will also be hitting the campaign trail this week with a bus tour in a swing state they hope to win, Georgia. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Well, a federal judge has temporarily blocked a landmark effort to offer 500,000 immigrants a path to U.S. citizenship. The Texas judge's order applies to a Biden administration executive order that would grant legal status to undocumented immigrants married to American citizens. Today's action to block the order follows a lawsuit by 16 states with Republican attorneys general. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg is accusing the Biden administration of pushing the social media company to censor COVID-related content in 2021. In a letter to the House Judiciary Committee, Zuckerberg said the White House repeatedly pressured his teams to censor certain COVID-19 content and expressed frustration when they did not agree. The Meta CEO described the pressure he felt as, quote, wrong, and said he regrets his company did not speak out more. A bit later, the right for workers to disconnect.
Texting employees after work hours could get you fined thousands of dollars in Australia. I'm Madison Scarpino in London. I'll have the details coming up.
Well, of course, hot outside for us today, and the heat is going to stick around over the next couple days, but pretty quiet for us tonight. Nice shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex, downtown Joplin, looking off toward the north and to the east. Temperatures, we're still sitting mainly into lower 80s across the board. We can go outside here, 7th and Rangeline, sitting at 83. Southwesterly winds at about 5 to 10. Humidity, it's been up there a little bit. Dew points mainly into the mid 60s. So let's pull out the dew point tracker. Where that puts us is right there in that sticky range. Could it be worse? Sure. Could it be better? Yeah. But we're going to stay in that sticky range as we go through the next couple days. All right, temperatures, the heat sticks around. We'll start with your Wednesday. Lower 70s to start by noon, lower 90s by the afternoon, similar to what we saw today. 96, 97, 98, 99 degrees. Few hit and miss isolated storms. Most of you will stay dry. Any storms that do pop up will be gone once we lose the heating of the day. 90 by noon. High temp, 97 degrees. Plus our heat index is going to be up there the way it's going to feel to your skin. About 100 degrees as we go into Wednesday afternoon. We're going to do it again on Thursday. Heat indices right around 100 degrees. Then we start to see some improvement. We're going to get some rain chances and cool down. Now, any rain out there now, well to our north, mainly along and north of I-70 near Kansas City. Upper level wave, Texas, another wave, New Mexico. Those two combined will give us a little bit of moisture in here. by the time we get into late this week and then heading into the holiday weekend. So let's go ahead and break that down for you. Starting Wednesday evening, Thursday morning, lower 70s once again. Up near 90 by noon, we'll get up to about 95, 96 degrees. We're going to track thunderstorms working in Thursday night. So we're looking at 3 o'clock in the morning, most likely falling apart as they push in. So we'll start the day with some hit and miss storms, but as we get into the afternoon, pop-up thunderstorms as well. Now, a cold front's going to roll through, so I want you to notice the temperatures. We're sitting mainly into the mid-80s. Scattered thunderstorms again Friday night into Saturday morning. Additional scattered thunderstorms Saturday afternoon, mainly along and south of I-44, but it does include the area lakes of Table Rock, Grand, and Beaver, so we got to keep our eyes on that. But then temperature is really pretty nice through the whole holiday weekend. Rainfall, we'll have to see where the heavier storms set up. And again, this is a few days away, but a lot of areas will pick up half an inch, maybe upwards to an inch, which is good because we definitely need the rain. Holiday weekend looks great. 84 Saturday, 87 by the time we head into Sunday, which we can definitely handle. We're going to go 97 tomorrow, 96 on Thursday. But then look at the nice stretch of 80s back down into the 60s for overnight lows. Labor Day itself, partly sunny, high temp 84, and we stay into the 80s most of next week.
All right, well, we'll take those 80-degree temperatures. And for Labor Day weekend, you cannot complain about that.
No, that's pretty good. We'll definitely take it.
And at least the rain's at the beginning of the weekend, not the end.
There you go.
Very
true.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, there are fears of more landslides in Alaska after a slide killed a public works employee and injured 3 others on Sunday. The landslide started after heavy rains in the city of Ketchikan on the southeastern coast sent heavy mud cascading into homes, trees, and power lines. At least 4 houses were badly damaged and conditions are still unstable. Residents of around 60 homes were ordered to evacuate.
In the amount of time that I've lived here in Ketchikan, which has been several decades, I've never seen anything like this.
Some residents were allowed to return home, but others are still under evacuation orders. Coming up in sports, several members of the Joplin Outlaws are named to the Mid-America League All-Star team. Plus, a former Joplin Eagle makes the 53-man roster for the New York Jets. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
The NFL's 53-man roster deadline is this afternoon. At 3 o'clock Central, all 32 teams need to cut down their rosters to 53 from the preseason total of 90. And several players with ties to the 4 states were right on the border of making their regular season squad. Rico Payton, who spent 4 seasons with Pittsburgh State, has reportedly made the New Orleans Saints 53-man roster. He turned heads in the preseason after going undrafted back in April. Payton had 8 tackles, a sack, and 4 pass breakups in 3 preseason games with New Orleans. He joins Dallas Flowers of the Indianapolis Colts as the only Gorilla alum to make a 53-man roster this season. More good news for Joplin High School alum Isaiah Davis. The rookie running back makes the Jets' 53-man roster, the team announces this afternoon. Davis was selected by New York with the 173rd overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft back in April. He was the Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of Missouri as a senior with Joplin in 2019. Well, Missouri Southern football plays its first game of the 2024 season on the road at Midwestern State this Thursday night, and the Lions released their 2-deep depth chart today. Here are the expected offensive starters for the Lions in their first game. No surprise to see Luke Sampson and Joplin High School alum Nathan Glades in the backfield. Halim Dixon King, a transfer from Delaware State, and Draper Parker, who only played 3 games a year ago. The 2 of them lead the way at wide receiver. And no surprise to see All-MIAA performer Deontay Campbell at tight end. Lions will be much younger on defense. Defensive end Solomona Fetuau missed most of last season with an injury. He returns to anchor the D-line in 2024. Colton Bass, Zach Bergman, and Peyton McKee, they round out the linebacker room. The Lions don't have a ton of experience at defensive back. Jordan Ledette played in 11 games for the Lions a year ago, but Stephon Black, Mason Rumsey, Chris Williams, the 3 of them have played a combined 4 games for Southern entering Thursday. The Mid-America Baseball League announces its 2024 All-Star team this afternoon. Several members of the Joplin Outlaws are represented. St. Louis native C.J. Sapicki is the left fielder on the All-Star team. This is after he was also named playoff MVP. Drake Lee from Central Oklahoma is named to the All-Star team as a catcher. Southeast Arkansas sophomore Eric Hyken is one of 2 relief pitchers in the league to receive All-Star honors. And Carl Junction native and current Pittsburgh State Gorilla Lucas Van Landuit, he's one of 4 starting pitchers named to the All-Star team. He's joined by Xavier Fossbender from Missouri Baptist. He pitched as well as playing in the field and batting, but Fossbender is an All-Star as a starting pitcher. Well, Carl Junction hosting a volleyball jamboree tonight. We'll start with Webb City, who's there taking on Mount Vernon. Lady Cardinals up on the Mountaineers, who are looking to claw back, but Avery Gardner bumps it to Savannah Crane, who assists to Adeline Maxwell, slams it down. Cardinals take the series 2-1, skipping ahead to Game 3 in that matchup. Lady Bulldogs in a district championship rematch against the Cardinals. Competitive series, back and forth, but Jaylee Van Beesler able to finish it, put up Cardinals up 1-0. Here come the Bulldogs, though. Check out this save by Jocelyn Weingart. Keeps CJ alive, then the Cardinals put in a little bit too much power. That ball sails out, tied 1-1. Final set, Cards up big, but it didn't last long. Off the Bulldogs serve, net gets contested. Bulldogs stand strong. Jaden Howard bumps it to Deshae Berge, and she calls game. Carl Junction makes the huge comeback, takes down the Cardinals 2-1 in that jamboree. Bulldogs on the road next Tuesday. They take on Kickapoo, while the Cardinals hit the road to Clever. Back to a couple of those NFL draft stories that I mentioned. Very different stories for the 2 players that made the team. You have Rico Payton going undrafted. He works his way onto the team. And then Isaiah Davis gets drafted and, plays deserving of that, makes his way onto the team.
I know, it's exciting. We're going to be following those careers to see how they do.
Should be exciting, yeah.
Back to the volleyball jamboree. How does that work? Are they like regular games?
Yeah,
matches?
Well, yes, they are. But a lot of times in jamborees like that, scores really aren't overly important. It's more just about getting the experience before the regular season starts.
It's always fun to watch volleyball.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, John. We're back with more news after this. A new Australian law is giving workers the right to disconnect. Fox News correspondent Madison Scarpino has more on whether similar legislation could come to the U.S.
Millions of workers in Australia can now legally ignore their bosses outside of work hours. It's all because of the right to disconnect law, which went into effect Monday. It does not prohibit managers from contacting employees, but instead gives those workers the right to not respond if the reason the company is reaching out is deemed unnecessary.
We spend so much of our time connected to our phones, connected to our emails all day, and I think that it's really hard to switch off as it is.
Australia's Fair Work Commission can fine companies up to 94,000 Australian dollars if they don't comply. That's equal to more than $63,000 in the U.S., though officials say there are also cases where an employee's refusal to respond is considered unreasonable.
There are clearly jobs where you have reasonable expectations of needing to be available after hours because of your particular responsibilities or perhaps your level of responsibility for operations.
More than a dozen countries have enacted their own version of this law, mainly across Europe and South America. In the U.S., similar legislation was introduced in California this year, but it was shelved after criticism from business groups.
If you work for a global company, calls might come in, emails might come in at all hours. Yeah. That can't be stopped. That can't be helped.
Other countries have proposed a 4-day work week as an alternative solution to burnout. In London, Madison Scarpino, Fox News.
Well, coming up, if you're excited for the new Beetlejuice sequel, we'll check out a new pop-up experience, giving fans an up-close and personal preview of the movie. Just in time for the highly anticipated sequel, Beetlejuice. In theaters this September, a new immersive pop-up experience in Hollywood is inviting fans into the strange and unusual world of the films with set recreations, live entertainment, and lots of photo ops. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has a preview.
Step right up, folks. We are at Beetlejuice, the Afterlife Experience, giving you a look at what's in store for all fans of the ghost with the most. So you know what to do. Let's knock 3 times. It's showtime.
You have to knock 3 times, and then you're taken into a threshold of the afterlife. And so you get into a waiting room where some people have been waiting there for an eternity. And there we have some characters from the new movie coming up, and people are filling up their passport. And then you go into immigration, where you're greeted by the immigration twins. And then you get into the amazing, what we call Center Pavilion.
The experience features set recreations, live entertainment, and more from the original and Beetlejuice in theaters September 6th.
This is the Beetlejuice headquarters, where he runs his business from. Then you get to the sandworm. Then you go into the afterlife train.
We also have Beetlejuice here. You'll get to see Beetlejuice.
Yes.
And maybe do some couples counseling.
The ghost with the most.
We said his name 3 times for our strange and unusual photo ops. We stopped at the Afterlife Diner and shared a shockberry shortcake.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
There was also a ghostly guide on the Afterlife train.
Awesome.
Tickets start at $25 on BeetlejuiceExperience.com, and there are VIP packages available. All adds to the excitement building for that upcoming sequel.
There's been so much buzz about it. People are so anxious. They've waited a long time for this.
And for the experience, we normally launch a wait list, and it was a marvelous wait list, and we're seeing ticket sales really high. We're open until October 6th, but we're seeing ticket sales are really good, to the point that we're thinking about extending it much longer.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
All I need is a plane ticket to Hollywood. And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a corgi race in Lithuania. Oh, how cute. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.